Our first game available to Xbox Live Gold members from October 16th to November 15th is The Escapists. Developed by Moldy Tooth Studios and published by Team 17, it was released on Xbox in 2015. The first thing you're going to notice is that great music. By far some of the best in the flourishing 8-bit genre, so go ahead and let's check it out for a little bit. So the first thing you're going to notice in The Escapists is the actual amount of things that you can do. There is so much depth to this game. For being an 8-bit game, it's pretty impressive. So you're in prison. You have to follow a schedule, obviously. You have morning roll call, you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you have an evening roll call before the shakedown happens. You have to do those things, or you'll gain the attention of the guards. So there are benefits to it. Being in the morning roll call, you see which other inmates have missions for you to, or favors for you to do. Favors are good because accomplishing favors for other inmates increases your favor with them. And if you get it to a certain level, you can have them join you. You can assign them to go beat people up or do whatever other things, create distractions, so on and so forth. Every activity in the game takes away your stamina. There are things like LOLing at cats on the internet to increase your intellect. How that does that, I have no idea. I should be a genius by now. You have a weightlifting time period and you have a shower time period, which gets kind of creepy. All those things take away your energy. Food, the shower, those replenish your energy levels. And then you have a couple times a day where you have free roam. That's where you spend the time to explore other inmates' cells to find items that you need, because the favors usually consist of an inmate wanting something from someone, or just wanting an item, or requesting that you beat somebody up, or creating a distraction. Those are the favors. So as we talk about in the crafting section, you'll see it's kind of difficult to figure out which items make what. So always exploring other inmates' cells and seeing the new items they have daily helps with that, because you can just take what you want as long as they're not near you to see you in their cell. And that goes for the guards as well. The main activity is your job. So automatically you're assigned a job on the lowest level. The higher the job, or the better the job, the more coin you make per day, but you have to increase your intellect level to a certain point in order to apply for that job and get it. The cool thing about the job system, you have to get other inmates fired from their job in order to get that job. So that's pretty cool, because you can create or come up with some cool ideas to figure that part of it out. But that's your main source of income. That's how you can buy hints to make craftable items. You can pay. That's how you get coin to buy items from inmates. That's how you progress in the game. So you can get fired from your job if you don't do a good job at it. You have an allotted time period. And for instance, you start off in the laundry on most maps. You have to wash 10 pieces of clothing to accomplish your job for the day. And then you get paid. So the activities add a lot to this game. I venture to say you could probably play this game constantly just doing your regular activities. If you want to try to break out, you can, but if you don't. I like that it gives you that freedom. The crafting system in the Escape is pretty robust. There are a ton of items in the game, most of which can be crafted into tools, weapons, reinforced armor. You need covers for ceilings and fences and air ducts that you open up or try to cut through. You'll spend most of the time searching through either other inmates' cells. You can buy items from other inmates. You can loot knocked out inmates and guards to find craftable items. The downside to it, there is no go-to list to see the recipe for craftable items. So you're pretty much just thrown in there and have to explore and try combinations of different things until you can find a recipe. Your only option, besides going online and searching the wiki, of course, is to use the phone in the main rec area of each map. There you can buy hints for 10, 20, or 30 coins, and don't worry about that because coins are pretty easy to come by, either by doing favors or just doing your scheduled job every day will get you coins. The upside is that once you have learned the recipe for a craftable item or received a hint from the phone, it will save the recipe in your notes, which you can access from the pause screen. So if you do decide to escape in some manner or form, there are multiple ways of escaping each prison, which also adds to the diversity of the game. If you decide to escape, you complete that map and you find yourself on the leaderboards. If you're paying attention to points, or if that's something important to you, good luck. This game has been out for a while. You're probably not gonna rank unless you follow every guide out there and find every cheesy way to get points. Some of these people on the leaderboard have escaped in 0 days. So the first day they get in there, they've escaped. I haven't managed to find a way to be able to do that. I'm sure there are ways that you can. I'm sure just a Google search will tell you how to do it. But enjoy the game. Play it for the fun that it is. The music's great. There's a lot of stuff to do in the game to keep it interesting, and there's so many different prisons that you can try playing that give this game a lot of diversity. This game is definitely worth the price of free. I would say it's worth the price that it's allotted at, which is $20, I think, off of the free market. This game is fun. Kudos to Moldy Tooth. And now on to the second game for the months of October and November. This one coming to you on Xbox 360 and Xbox One through backwards compatibility. I Am Alive. It's a survival horror game developed by Darkworks and published by Ubisoft in the third person. So the first and probably most important thing that you have to learn quick in this game is the map system. Because of the quote-unquote heavy fog and the random sandstorms and the overall absence of anything resembling color, it can be pretty hard to navigate the streets and buildings of Haventon. Fortunately, the map system is pretty darn cool. It's realistic in the sense that if your path is blocked, or if you find people of interest, or people of insanity for that matter, the map auto-updates with that information in the form of notes that the character writes on a physical map. So, to me, this adds to the realism of the game, and it's also a convenient tool for you as the player. As you progress through the game, you'll encounter victims. There are 20 in total, and in order for you to save them, you mostly have to give them items from your inventory. Why they're sitting around in the open next to murderers, I have not a clue. But you'll get achievements for saving them as you go along, and you also get the coveted retry. So on Survivor mode, which is the hardest mode, you don't get any retries. If you die, you die. You have to start back at your last save point. In order to start at a checkpoint, you have to find retries in the map, or you get them by saving victims. They'll also give you a little backstory after you save them, and I'm sure they're not all in the open, so you will have to do a little bit of exploring. As linear as this game is, it does give you some different paths to take, so that's pretty cool. The combat in the game is actually a little more in depth than you think. Usually when you encounter just one person who's threatening you, you can back away without an encounter, or if you want, you can kill them and take what they have, if anything. Other scenarios have you facing off against 3 or even 5 people, which range in difficulty depending on the weapons that they're carrying or the type of enemy they are. There are a couple types of enemies, basically mean guys and not so mean guys. If you take out the mean guys first, the not so mean guys will surrender to you even if you don't have any bullets. So as you see in the video, when you're outnumbered, the game gives you a little bit of time to assess the situation and decide your plan of attack. You cannot just melee whatever you want, and bullets are scarce, so this adds a nice tactical feel to the game. It makes bullets and health really matter. Hopefully you have some retries, because sometimes it can get a little frustrating aiming for the right person that you want to take out, and those machete hits take a lot of health away. So be sure whenever you encounter a group to think quickly and come up with a plan. Kudos to them definitely on the combat system.
We're gonna give you a beating.
And finally we have climbing, the largest portion of the game. First, let's just listen to the intense music that plays as your stamina drains. It's amazing. Why they chose to have the scariest music play for climbing, I have no idea. Nothing's even chasing you. It gives me anxiety just listening to it. Overall, the climbing isn't that bad. Sometimes the character will move in a direction that you're not trying to go, especially when you're pressing A to lift yourself up onto a ledge, and that gets frustrating, especially when your stamina is running very low. In this game, your stamina bar is your lifeline. There are items that you can drink to replenish it as you're climbing, or there are items that you can drink to refill it completely, as you'll see here in this video. Some items that you can find throughout the map are called pitons. I had to look it up because it's spelled P-I-T-O-N, but pitons, apparently they're little pegs that you can shove into the wall and anchor yourself, and that'll also refill your stamina. Being that they are scarce, if you have no other options, that's the only time I recommend using them. You can save them up so you have a bunch, which is the best way to go about it. As far as I can tell, there are no items in the game that give you a permanent boost or increase to your stamina bar, and I think this is a shame, given that this is the main feature of the game. Your stamina is almost more important than your health. There are even areas of the map that are in the quote death fog area that drains your stamina until you die. Some sort of boost option here would have been very cool. Otherwise, this happens. So, if you favor linear survivor games with a learning curve and a bit of a challenge, at least on survivor mode, or if you would just like a quick run to 1,000 achievement points, pick up I Am Alive, published by Ubisoft. It's free for Xbox Live Gold members on the 360 and on the Xbox One through backwards compatibility until the end of October 31st. So, in review, the first game we covered for Xbox Live's Game for Gold was The Escapists, developed by Moldy Tooth Studios, I love that name, and available for free from October 16th to November 15th. Our pros: 1. Great music, possibly some of the best in any 8-bit game. Really in-depth gameplay and freedom. A ton of different maps that you can spend hours on, or just run through to try to get on that leaderboard. Good luck with that. Our cons: the tutorial doesn't give any useful tips or direction of how the real game is. It's very brief. 2. You're not told the steps you must take to successfully escape the prison. For instance, the guards don't necessarily have to see you cut a hole in the fence in order to catch you. So there's a lot of trial and error. Overall review from the Gaming VUE: a definite download while free, and for $19.99 normally, definitely worth the price. The second game available for Xbox Live Gold members is I Am Alive, a survival horror game developed by Darkworks and published by Ubisoft. It was released in March of 2012. It's pretty old. This game is available from October 16th to October 31st for free, and it's an Xbox 360 title that you can play on Xbox One through backwards compatibility. So the pros we have for this game: it has a different take on post-apocalypse. No zombies for once. So that was pretty interesting. The combat system is very tactical. That was refreshing. The story is interesting and it keeps you playing. Our cons for I Am Alive are, well, it's pretty linear with the illusion of depth. There are some areas where it looks like you can explore pretty good, but no, you'll find that they're blocked off pretty quick, and so the game kind of funnels you pretty straightforward to where it wants you to go. Climbing in the game, which is the main part of it, gets frustrating, and the music just adds to the frustration. The most anxiety fueling music is just when your stamina is running out. I think they misused that. They could have applied it to some other parts of the game. The combat system, again, although tactical, which was good, it's very punishing. There is no leeway. If you get hit, if you die, if you don't have a retry, especially in survivor mode, you're going to start back quite a ways. So you have to make sure you're on your P's and Q's when in the combat. So it's a little bit too punishing for our taste. The bland colors and graphics, they have a boring effect. It gets kind of boring looking at the same gray thing over and over and over. So our overall review of the game, it's worth a download for free. If you're into survival games, I would check it out. Although it's a little bit more linear than most survival games. At the retail price of $14.99, it is not worth the price. So if you do like these types of games, make sure you get it now because you only have until October 31st to pick this one up for free.